I'm Jason here at RoofSnap.
And I'm Katrina.
What we want to do today is kind of jump right in and show you Sketching 101, roof measuring using RoofSnap. Now whether you're using this from your office or right from your truck, sitting in the driveway of the house, the functionality is pretty much the same. But as you can see here, what we're trying to accomplish is use a little GoPro camera so that you can see my hands while I draw on the screen. And then we also have the screen capture of the iPad itself right on the screen. So you see those little fingers moving around. Those represent the touch points of my fingers as I draw on the screen. So we're really going to go, maybe at a medium pace today, where we're going to draw out all the lines of a roof that we've already got set up for today. If you're in the driveway and you want to start the project, you can tap here on Project Map. And when you tap on Project Map, it's going to load in your location. Well, let's see, Katrina, I guess you'll have to look up there to follow along today, right?
That's all right.
But if I was over in this residential area, sitting in the driveway right here as an example, or maybe this one better, since a darker roof seems to show up just a little bit better on my screen today. How's that? Does that look better?
Yeah, I think that looks better.
All right. Well, you have two options. You can look at my hands, or you can look at the screen down here and see a higher res version of what's going on, right? So if I press and hold on this house right here, it drops a pin and it's going to pull in that address for me automatically. If I hit create, it's going to start a new project with this address information preloaded into the address fields. And then I would just need to add the project name, the name of the customer, if I need it, of course I would, the phone number, email address, and then if they had separate billing information, I could put that here, and any related insurance details can be added right here to the project as well. I'm going to cancel that out, not actually create that project, but instead go into this webinar Sketch 101 project where I've already created the address. I'm going to tap on the edit button just so that I can make sure it's in the right office. RoofSnap demo office is where I want it today. I could then add the customer and all the other fields that we just talked about. And as soon as all that's done, as soon as all that's filled out correctly, what I did is I tapped on the done button that was here in the upper right hand corner. Now we're going to jump right into the RoofSnap. This is where the sketching of the roof takes place. So I'm going to tap here on RoofSnap. And you'll see it changes the map almost immediately to the address and it puts a pin on it. Right now, Google finds the address for us and puts a pin on it. So we are by default always going to see the Google view initially, just because it powers all of the address searching and Latin Launch and all that.
Yep.
But you'll notice that for this address, this little Nearmap button has appeared in the upper left-hand corner. See where it says tap here? I'm going to tap here. And initially, this pop-up window here is going to show me the dates that we have available from Nearmap. Nearmap has multiple capture dates, and they always have an image with no leaves on the trees. You notice that house had leaves on the trees, and even this one here in this sort of little promo image, there is a cost,
Yep.
$5. So we're going to hit OK. But I want to draw your attention here. This on the left is from satellite imagery. This on the right is from Nearmap. When we draw from satellite imagery, sometimes we have difficulty seeing the edges. You can see the distortion here in this area because the lines aren't straight because the roof wasn't captured from directly overhead.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in Nearmap, it's nice and straight over here on the right.
Absolutely.
It's a much easier roof from which to make accurate measurements.
For sure.
So let's go ahead and commit to a $5 purchase for the Nearmap.
I think that's worth it.
Yep. And Katrina, you'll have to project today because
Oh.
we're not as close to the microphone as we typically are.
I'm a little more soft-spoken. So.
You have to give it the You know what I'm talking about.
Right from the diaphragm.
Right from the Dr. Horrible.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, you know.
Oh, I know.
I don't know if anybody's gonna get that. So we had success in purchasing the Nearmap image. Now we can make sure we're zoomed in all the way and get nice and straight on the ridge. But this image, you notice, if I line it up here on that up and down red line, which may or may not be visible in the flat screen, but you should be able to see it There. On that screen down there, I'm going to have to get used to this. Let's change and load in the September 20th and see how that one appears.
Yeah, the goal here is not to see the siding on the wall there.
Right. You want to see the rakes being straight. You notice here that the rakes are pretty straight. We don't have that curvature, which tells us it's more directly overhead. But we still have trees covering this area on the back and some strong shadows. So let's go to March 23rd. And that is a much clearer image. The rakes are very close to straight, which is going to give us the most accuracy. If the rakes aren't perfect, it's okay. We can still use it to draw. We just want
the best of the best.
Yeah, the best image possible. And that's what you get with Nearmap. Options to find the best. And I like this one. I like this one so much, I don't even think I'm going to spend time going on looking for a better image. But you notice here, I'm lining up my horizontal image on the ridge and my vertical image on the other ridge. Making it nice and straight, bringing it back to center. 2 fingers to zoom in all the way, which I already am. Snap and start drawing. Tap on that in the upper right hand corner, and you know what, for this section, let's just bring it down a little bit. Alright. Still bright, still really bright. Go ahead and tap on snap and start drawing and then continue. And what this does, what this does is it loads up that image directly into our sketching functionality. Our sketch tools all appear here along the bottom of the screen. Draw, edges, facets, pins, and pan and zoom. And you'll find that I tap on pan and zoom a lot just to move the image around on the screen. Kind of like to be zoomed in. It's easier to draw more accurately. And then to lay down my first line, I'm going to tap on the draw button here on the far left. Okay. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to use my index finger here on the screen. And when I touch the screen, it puts a cursor on the screen. So what I'm going to do is come over here and put my cursor right in the corner, and then you see with this little guy, this little thumb right here, I'm just going to tap right on the screen. It's like a mouse click. It turns my cursor green, and then I can draw out my first line. I'm actually going to draw that one to about there, and you'll see why. And there, anybody who missed that, I actually drew the line, and then I tapped on the screen when I reached the end.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't need that little line I just drew. That was just for an example, so let's tap the undo button here. Now let's move this over with the pan and zoom down here in the bottom right toolbar. Switch back to draw, put my finger where that point is, and then in order to start my next line I have to tap. So there you see I tapped on the screen. Bring the line up, and I want to end the line there, so I tap on the screen again. And now I've drawn 2 lines. Now we don't have to stop after every single line. So let me draw a few lines in a row. First of all, let's draw out that ridge line. I'm going to bring it to the end, and I am going to tap on the screen there. And now let's draw 3 lines in a row. So I'm going to start right here. I'm going to draw, tap to start, come down, right to where the bottom of the valley is. Tap to set that line and then come up the valley. I didn't pick up my finger at all. I just continued to draw. Tap again to come down the other valley. Right to about the center of the gutters. That's what I find to be as the most accurate. So we drew those 3 lines. Now we can pan and zoom and move it around. You see I just touched it. You know, I do it sometimes so quickly, even with other fingers. You know, it's a multi-gesture environment here. So now let's take and put our finger right up here to set the cursor at the top of this, where these 2 valleys meet this ridge. Come down the ridge.
And Jason, when he's drawing a line and starting his cursor out, he kind of quick taps to connect to that point. He's already landed there. And he'll do it here. He'll just kind of tap and turn.
Yep, I'm going to tap and turn, and I don't pick up my drawing finger. Now we see this one goes past. And there's a funny little detail here. You can see this when you're on site more easily than from an overhead image. But for any of you who've drawn as many roofs as I have, whether it's on graph paper or in some sort of software, you know that this has a little overhang and a little piece of flashing there. And it kind of comes into a little pocket, so we'll just connect it into that little pocket there with a line. Straighten this one out, see, so that's something we haven't talked about yet. Let's say I drew it crooked. Well, what I can do is put my cursor on any point and set it there for about a second and pick it right back up and move it to make it nice and straight. And I'd say right about center of the gutter, right about there.
And he's using those cursor tails to really help him line those up nice and straight.
Yep. Those cursor tails are easy to see on the screen down below, much more so than they are where my fingers are on the screen, but you should see that they're red and they're perfectly horizontal and vertical. There we go. Now, I'm thinking about what the front of this gable looks like. I don't know if there are any little sections that curl in, any ears or wings or anything like that. So this is a good time to pause from drawing lines of the roof and begin to look at our supplementary images here. We can start with Bing images, northeast, southwest directional images. There's the house. And you know we're going to have to be on a lookout for this little flat section back here. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
East. South. There's another view of it there. Here we're also looking for any sort of bay windows or any other type of difficult to see, wraparound, small sections, stuff like that.
Things from a bird's eye view that you can't necessarily pick up straight from that aerial view.
Right. We've looked through those. Now, let me draw your attention down here to the bottom right corner. I want you to see that there's a little map icon and a little man with a circle around his feet. Let's start with the little man with a circle around his feet. That's going to open up Google Street View imagery.
Yeah, I think it's that one.
Yeah, with the tree right in the front. But good news is there's straight gables on the front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
No special little wings or ears. We have a pretty straight on image. You guys notice how I've gotten the gable pretty much straight. If I put it right in the middle of the screen, it feels like it's a little at an angle, right?
Yeah,
If
feels a
I,
little
if I
crooked.
move it over here, it feels like it's pretty straight, just off center. Notice this little icon up here in the upper left-hand corner. This is a little pitch card. Let's tap on that and tap on continue. Now I'm going to take two fingers, and here's where it's interesting to be able to see my hands, but I'm going to just take it and pinch it open, making it a little bigger. Once I've made it a little bigger or a little smaller, once I've changed the size of it, now with one finger I can move this card around. And I can put the 412 right on the roof, and that looks like it's going to be a 412. The 512 is too steep. So that's good to know. We've got a 412 pitch, at least on that section of the roof. We can also move over a little bit. Move over again. Oh, too far. So we're not going to be able to get as straight on this one over here on the right. So if you're at an angle and you're using the pitch tool, same thing, zoom it in a little bit and bring it down. And it's pretty much right on 412 still. Even though we are at a slight angle, it's still showing us an accurate measurement there.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and close out of Street View. And now I can draw the rest of the lines, but let's not forget, we know the pitches on these front sections. And now we'll go and finish drawing out the rest of these lines on the roof. Same deal here. Every time I come to the start of a line or draw a consecutive line, I've got to tap. I've got to tap on the screen. Let me show you guys what not to do. A lot of people want to come down to the bottom of an eave, and then when they want to go across a rake, they'll draw all the way across the rake. Now if I do that, I have no place here to connect my ridge. If I go all the way across, I will not have an accurate drawing. I will not close in my facets correctly. So what I want to do is just go halfway. Use my cursor tail to know where the line's going to go up the roof. Make sure it's straight. Tap. Change direction. Haven't taken my drawing finger off in 3 lines now. Even going to come down this side. Still haven't taken my finger off the line. Now I can make sure that this is level by using my horizontal cursor tail and seeing that it's equal to that gutter in the middle section there. Tap and come up. Now here I'm going to tap and keep going and draw another line out here. But I'm going to stop here and zoom in. I don't want to try to draw this section without zooming in a little further. Might as well just go ahead and take care of this while I'm here.
Sounds good.
So we come down the rake, tap, don't forget to tap.
What happens if you don't tap and you lift your finger up? Oh, you lose your line.
Yeah, let's do it again. So here, if I just draw and I think I'm there, but I forget to tap and I take my finger off the screen, it's going to stay there. See, fingers are off the screen, it's there. But as soon as I touch the screen again,
that line disappears.
the line disappears. You have to tap to lock it in, otherwise the line disappears. The reason it stays there, I guess, is just to make sure that the crosshairs are lined up with what you're, if you're just trying to set a point, just to see if something's level, you want the crosshair to stay there so you can see, and you take your hands out of the way.
Absolutely.
That's why we let the crosshairs stay up there on the screen when you take your finger off. So let's go ahead and draw it past, bring it over. I'm definitely going to want to zoom in on this section here, because again, we've got a little bit of overhang, a little bit of a pocket that comes down, and I'm going to connect it right there. Our roof measuring functionality is extremely accurate by actually just drawing the lines that are literally there on the roof. What I mean by that is you don't have to draw double lines to close in different areas. You don't have to draw the ridge twice, one for the front and once again for the back.
Right.
So here, first line I am confident about is the pitch change from the regular slope to the low slope. I'm going to draw to the center of the gutter, come up here, come across the center of the front of the gutter, line up with my cursor tail to make sure it's nice and straight, come down, connect it. Now that I'm connected, I can tap, take my finger away. Now imagine these pocket out just the same. They're going to come right up here where the pitch change begins, and there's going to be probably a little piece of flashing or something back in there where they just sort of connect with the pocket. So for those of you who've installed roofing, you're very comfortable understanding the architectural details here. These will be very easy for you to draw because it's just like the roof actually is in reality. The step wall that comes up, and then the tiny little pocket where it connects back into. Now let me show you guys something here. This is a lower section as there's an underhang. This is a lower section here as there's an underhang. And a pitch change that goes from the big section down to the lower section. When I switch to facets, we're going to see the 0 for the smaller facet here, and these darker shaded areas represent material not only for above and for below. But let's say this low slope section here is not getting any shingles. And that's what we mean by low slope. It means alternative roofing system. You're not doing shingles, you're putting rubber on it, or some other sort of some other sort of modified system. Label that as low slope. Maybe it has a 212 pitch, or maybe it has a 112 pitch. Now let's do pitch, but let's do it in slow motion.
Yeah.
All right? So we addressed some of the facet labels, but pitch is a facet label. When we show the whole roof here, pan and zoom to go to the whole roof, and switch to facets, you'll see that everything starts with 0. And of course, while I'm in here, I see a line that's not ever so straight, so of course I have to fix it. It's my OCD or my ADD or my UDF. That's where I get gas, guys. I have a UDF card. And an ADD card.
And an ADD card, do you? I can
No.
tell.
Facets. Facets button. To look at facets, to change facets, tap on the facets button here at the bottom. And then go and tap on pitch. Select your pitch. So pretty sure everything's going to be a 412. Tap on apply to all. Put 412 on everything. Let's say these front areas were not 4. Let's say they were 5, but everything else was 4. Go back to pitch. Select 5. Now just tap on the 4, toggles it to 0, tap on it again, makes it 5. Touch on the other one, makes it 0. Touch on the other one again, makes it 5. Want to remove a section that you're not changing the roof of? Use the remove button. You can turn off facets altogether. It can also show you that this 4 doesn't apply to this section here. How do we know? Let's remove it for a second. Turn it off. Well, that section's still highlighted. Tap on the little X that is left behind once.
Getting tap happy
Yep.
there.
If you've got a dormer on the roof, label both or all the facets of the dormer as dormer. If there's 2-story and you want to add that label so that your estimating platform within RoofSnap knows to charge extra for 2-story. Same thing with multiple layers. You can add 2 layer to any facet. Of course, you're not going to be able to do that from the office. You're going to have to add second story or excuse me, multiple layer once you're on site and you've actually checked to see if there's multiple layers. Every time I lean in too far, my face goes behind the other iPad, so I'm like, hey. All right, so that's pretty much got the facets taken care of. Now, one of the things that the software doesn't know yet are all the lengths of all the lines. Here's why. This is an eave, 21.3 feet. Not sure if you can see that it says 21.3. As soon as I change it to eave, it stays 21.3. Why does it not get any longer?
There's no slope that it's going up or running down.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better. Won't even try to say it better. Rakes, however, they don't travel horizontally. Rakes travel diagonally. They go up the slope. So this one here is 11.5. Right now it doesn't know that it's a rake. It just thinks that it's a line. As soon as we call it a rake, 12.4. This one's 11.2, 12.1. As soon as we touch it, it gets longer. You have to label all your lines. If you don't label all your lines, you will not get accurate measurements, line measurements. You might come pretty close on squares, and so if all you need is squares, then you're good.
Yeah.
But if you need to know how much starter, how much hip and ridge, hips, perfect example. Except that we don't have any hips on this roof. But valleys, valleys are very similar. Now let's touch on valleys the second time. So when we first tap on valley, highlights it, loads it up here into this little sidebar. But if we tap on valleys a second time, you'll see we've got another label, sort of hidden, sort of a sub-label underneath the valleys. We can add ice and water shield. When I tap on it, it highlighted it, ice and water shield. Now we're going to be accounting for ice and water shield in all those valleys. But let's say we also needed ice and water shield at the eaves. Let's get a running total going. So let's go to eaves, go back. Let's add ice and water shield. Let's also add eve edge. Eve edge is going to make a running total for things like starter and things like edge vent and drip edge metal. It's not about one product. It's about a category measurement that gives measurements to lots of different products when we start estimating in RoofSnap.
Mm-hmm.
So I want all the eaves. Do I want the eave on that low slope section? Well, I ask myself, am I going to put ice and water shield along that low slope? No. Am I going to use the same style of metal flashing along that low slope section? Possibly not. I might be using like a D7 or like some other heavier duty drip edge flashing along a low slope. Something that correlates with a special edge to go up under the rubber. So let's not label that one as an eave because it's not getting all the same measurement. It's not getting all the same products that all the other eaves are getting. Mm-hmm. Ridge, well, we do have one label, sub-label under ridge. It's called ridge vent. Let's tap on that, load it in, and zoom in on this little section here, because what do we have here? A rake. Do we put metal on our rakes?
We didn't. We left those blank.
Let's add it in. And then there's going to be a little wall. So what do we have under wall? More ice and water shield and more apron flashing. So let's get some ice and water shield there. I like to throw on a lot of labels. You notice here though on these two rakes on the front, I didn't put in rake edge, which means I didn't count for a measurement that's going to give me measurements for my drip edge along my rake.
Mm-hmm.
So I went on ahead and tapped those, and you can see the little sub-label RAK showed up. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
All right. Well, I'm hoping they can see it. That's why we have two screens going, above and below. Oh, Katrina, I can see your neck. Hey! Lots of cameras running today.
Definitely not used to what I'm looking at, where I'm looking. I've got
We got a
a
gnat?
rogue gnat.
Rogue little fruit fly. That time of year, doesn't matter how many times they clean the office. We always have these little tiny baby fruit flies. Well, I don't know if they're babies. I imagine they don't live very long.
And since you've already selected ice and water shield
Yeah.
and apron on your wall,
Go
when you
back.
go back,
Yeah,
It's
it
already there.
remembers.
it is. It's
You
a nice
see, I
little memory.
keep switching to pan and zoom a lot. Every time I switch to pan and zoom, brings me back so I can come to a new location of the roof and really zoom in on it. For some of you who put ice and water shield at pitch changes, that is an option. So we can tap and label. You see the word ice. Ice is going to appear wherever ice and water shield is being labeled. That doesn't mean you're limited to one ice and water shield product, though. When you set up your account, you could have a generic version. You could have a GAF brand. You could have a Tamco. You could have a Owens Corning. You could have 9 different ice and water shield products. This is just giving you the number of feet where it's going to be installed, just in case any of you were curious. Step. We've got a little bit of step here, so let's tap on that. Let's add step flashing and ice and water shield. Now, the same sort of problem applies here on these rakes. Do we label them rakes or do we not label them rakes? Well, it depends. Are we going to use the same type of flashing on this low slope section as we are for the rest of the roof? If we are, then yes, we would label them rakes. If we're not going to label them rakes. So I'm going to leave those yellow for right now, since in a sense it's a separate roof installation altogether. Some companies might even have a separate crew come the day before or the day after the rest of the roof is done and just lay the rubber for that last section, or the TPO, or whatever type of material is going on there. Some companies, however, have crews who will do all of it while they're there on site. Let's switch back to facets. We've got 4, 4, 5, 5, 4, 4, so let's fix those. Let's make all of it 4, except for this low sloped area. Don't know exactly what it is, but I'm going to call it a 2. 2 is typically low enough slope. I don't know anybody who actually will install shingles on a 2. Not that not that it doesn't exist, but I personally don't know anybody. All right, so we've got one more label down here, pins. Now, pins can come in handy if you're estimating, but they also come in handy when you're inspecting. And today, Katrina's going to get her picture taken.
Oh, great.
We are going to make Katrina an attention area. Better than hail damage.
It's better than hail
Better
damage.
than leak area. Shingle defect. No, she's an attention area.
All right, I'll do
All
the
right.
attention area.
There's the attention area pin. You see what I did? I tapped on the attention area, and when I did that, it loaded it here into this little sidebar, and then I tapped right on the section of the roof where the attention area is going to be. Oh, I didn't tell them how to do that. Sliding my drawer in and out.
That's right.
See, guys, how I can just touch right on that little gray bar and I can move that drawer in and out. Okay, let's not get sidetracked. So I've got the pin. Now I press and hold on the pin. And it says delete pin, so that's one option. Choose image from my photos library if I already have one uploaded. Take photo, that's what I want to do, or edit note. Well, let's edit the note first. I've got a keyboard here, so I can type. Katrina is great at demos. That's my note for Katrina for today.
Great.
I don't have to hit a save button. I can just tap. Makes it go away, but that information is there, and that information is going to come back to haunt us later on. I'm going to press and hold on that pin again and choose, take photo. So if my camera's not already been accessed, it's gonna ask for access. Wow, it's really big.
Really big.
There we go. We've got a picture of Katrina. We're going to use that photo. Now, let's grab some accessories that would also be good for estimating. Plumbing boots. Let's tap on the 1 to 3. I see at least 2, maybe 3. If I was on site is when I would actually want to be doing this. Confirm the size. Maybe they're 4 to 5 inch, not 1 to 3. I'm making guesses here just for demo purposes. You're going to know because you're going to be on site. Chimney flashing. Let's get a large chimney flashing kit. And that looks like a chimney, and that might be a chimney as well. Paint and sealant. We could grab that and actually put 1 tube of NP1 and 1 can of spray paint on. Miscellaneous. Well, there's some cool stuff in here. Comb AC condenser fins. So if there's hail damage and we need it, there's an AC unit right there. Flue and chimney caps if we needed those. Now, I'm showing you what we have here in the sample office, but just so you know, you can add lots of other accessories into your pins that can be labeled onto the roof. It's not limited to what we're seeing here.
It's completely customizable through your account on the back end.
Absolutely. We didn't look at off-ridge vents because this house obviously has ridge vent on it. You can tell just by seeing those raised ridges in this high-res Nearmap image. But if you needed to add a solar vent or some box vents, you could pin those on as well. And every pin, just like the attention area pin, if I press and hold on it, there's the AC one, you can choose an image or edit notes. I won't do that right now, but I'll go back to pins. Just make sure I didn't tap on the screen, and sometimes I'll tap by accident and drop a pin I didn't mean to drop, and I just take a final look. Looks good. Back to facets, double check, looks good. We're done.
All right.
Tap on the done button. Use suggested shingle cutting waste of 7.99%. If you're running a tight job and you don't want there to be a bunch of extra product delivered that the crew might not stock back in, we find these waste percentages to be very accurate for production purposes. So, if you tap on yes, you'll see if we immediately go to measurements, the measurements tab here, and tap on it, 7.99% waste factor has been accepted, and we're getting a total squares based on 7.99. But for estimating, maybe you want it to be 10 or 12 or 15 or whatever. It's totally up to you. You can manually change your waste percentage. Again, no save button. Whatever you put in there is what it's going to keep. Notice we have the low sloped area. It's separate. It's a half a square and it's totally on its own. It's not being calculated into the total squares or into the actual squares. If you scroll down through here, you can review some of your other measurements, but this isn't the best way to capture and hold on to those measurements. You might want to generate a document, send a PDF. Maybe you're already used to dealing with measurements as a PDF report. We can do that by going down to Documents. As soon as you're in Documents, go here to Sketch Report. Tap on Generate New and give it a few seconds to generate that PDF.
It's pulling in all that info we just laid out in the RoofSnap.
Yep. Now we have sketchreport.pdf. This is the document you want. Go ahead and tap on it. Don't be afraid to tap on anything in RoofSnap. There's always a done button or a back button, right?
Yep.
So what we're seeing is the information from the project, the address, the contact, which would be the salesman, which is me for our demo office, that primary image, northeast, southwest images, those ones from Bing, breakdown of each facet by pitch, including that low slope label that we see there, all the measurements, all of the labels, ridge vent, ice and water shield.
Yeah.
Darn you, GoPro. You must have like a 20-minute limit before you shut down.
It's got to be some kind of setting on there.
Yeah, to have Jeremy take a look at that. Well, we're back up and running. So as we continue through the report, you see that we have total category amounts. So actual squares versus total squares, including that 10% waste. Does not include the low slope. It's separate at a half a square. Pitch breakdown, line measurements, category measurements, everything. If we had put in gutters and gutter guard and downspouts on there as well, we'd see all those measurements show up on this document too. But more than just the measurements, because a lot of people need a good inspection report with photos and notes. So we continue down, we'll see.
It's just chirping at you.
No, it just totally changed to like some super wide angle.
Oh. Yeah, it did. All right.
Well, I guess we're going to be wide angle for the rest of the demo today.
Very
Oh,
strange.
That's bizarre.
Oh well.
My hands look really like... Point being, we have accessories. All those pins that we put and the location. This is going to be great for the crews to be able to see, hey, here's where you're going to put that solar vent. Hey, here's where that AC unit is. So they don't have to walk around the house 5 times to find it. And then all the photos. And Katrina is great at demos. And the plumbing boots, and the chimney flashing kits, and the comb AC condenser fins, all those. Notice here on the screen, right at the top, there's this little, it's called a share button, this little box with the arrow pointing up out of it. I'm going to tap on that. We get this little share window. This is unique to iOS. From here, we can airdrop it, email it, send it as a message. I've sent them successfully as text messages before.
Really?
Yep. Gmail, email, Google Drive, company Dropbox, what have you.
Awesome.
So that's how you take that PDF and send it somewhere else from your iPad. I'm going to tap on the done button, close that out, and well, we're 45 minutes in.
Yeah, we have successfully
Yeah.
measured a roof step by step.
That's
and,
measurement 101.
Yeah, generated a report here.
If you have any questions at all, please give us a call. We're 877-766-3762. If you want to see another video, maybe setting up your accounts, or maybe some more in-depth complex overhangs or something like that, that's what I like, complex overhangs. If you want to see another video, let's see, click right on here. We'll put another video link to that. If you like what we're doing and you want to subscribe to our page, click on that one there. And, well, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining us today, guys. Have a great day. I'm Jason here at RoofSnap.
Bye, I'm Katrina. It was nice to have you.
Bye-bye.